Hello, everyone. We're going to be going back into this series where I use the mats with the Sacred Woundings decks. However, we're going to do it a little bit differently today. I'm actually going to use the investigation blueprint because I want to show you how this can work to investigate something that's not a crime. You can investigate a wound, you can investigate a topic in your life and still use this one. So I'm going to pull one from the archetypes deck, one from the regular Sacred Woundings deck, and then we're going to use the tarot to go through the mat. So we're going to kind of do a combo of, well, I mean, let's see how they come out, but probably like a deeper level and a subconscious, or a subconscious and a conscious level of the wound, or something along those lines. Let's see. Your inner critic. Okay. So needing to address the inner critic in regard to what specific shadow? Soul on standby. We're going to be investigating if you feel like you're waiting for permission to start something or to change something or to show up a certain way or to believe a certain thing, right? If you feel like subconsciously a part of you is waiting for permission to truly dive in, then this is going to be for you. Let's put this in the middle here. We're going to start at box 1, the input stream. Number 6, so the distraction point. What's the distraction point here? And for the point of this, I'm just going to use 1 or 2 cards for each box, whatever falls out. So, wait, it was number 6? Number 6 is agenda pulse. What's the agenda pulse here? What's the agenda of this waiting for permission energy? The Empress in reverse. It feels to be related to a mother wound. If it's mother wound feels most prominent for this group. If it's not a mother wound, it's something with the difficulty in nurturing yourself. So maybe an ex made you feel unworthy, or people picked on you waiting up, and it's almost like subconsciously hiding some of yourself. Because it's not that you wanted their approval, but you knew that if you showed more of yourself, it would be met with disapproval. So it's not that you were seeking approval. Even if this is a mother wound, it's not that there was a sought approval. This is like avoiding disapproval by just turning down the volume on the self. Box 2, data field, number 8. The evidence pulse. What's the evidence of this in your life? How do you know, okay, yeah, that's how this shows up for me. That's how this shows up for me. Waiting. Oh, I almost knocked the whole thing over. Waiting, which is interesting because we are talking about waiting for permission, and temperance is slowness, right? It's the ultimate patience. It's the major arcana of patience. It's big patience, right? So how does this show up? What's the evidence of this? The evidence of this wound is look at the times when you look back after and you were like, man, why did I wait so long to do that? It wasn't as scary as I thought, or it wasn't as hard as I thought. What kept you in the holding pattern until taking action was this. The waiting for permission wound that stems from either a mother wound or a lack of nurture wound, or avoiding disapproval wound. Psych profile. Number 7, the trigger point. The trigger point. What's the trigger? So what's your main trigger in regard to how this shows up? Your mind, your own mind. And it's upright. So logic, like the trigger point is when you're thinking about things and you're like, no, logically what was done to me was wrong. The necessity for, or the need for me to put myself in a box just to feel safe was something that was wrong done to you, right? So it feels like the trigger point is your realization of, wait a minute, I deserve to be mad about this. I deserve to feel the feelings about this. This wasn't right. It wasn't right that I was turning down the volume before I had the opportunity to choose what volume I wanted it at, right? So trigger point, not that it's negative that you are aware that it's okay to be angry, but trigger point just says when you're sitting there thinking about it and you're like, wait a minute, that was wrong. Not trigger in a bad way, but trigger in a brings this wound to the surface way. Yes. So not to say don't be righteously angry, but do something with the anger, or do something with the grief, or do something with the emotion, because when you just sit there and let it fester, that's negative trigger point. When you feel triggered and you're like, oh, I'm being given a glass of energy with this trigger. Let me go do something with it. Let me go water an area of my life with, not negative. It's not negative or positive. It's just energy, right? So let me go do something with this. So trigger point, your mind can be your biggest enemy here with this wound, because I feel like at the end of the day, for you, it boils down to, well, it's just not right, and there's no way to excuse it away, right? But knowing that, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do with that emotion? Okay, so witness interface. The lie signal. Okay, what's the lie signal? What's the lie signal? Nine of Wands in reverse, Four of Pentacles in reverse. So the lie is that vulnerability will pull you out of balance. The lie is, well, if I let myself feel the emotions instead of just intellectualize them, it's going to pull me out of balance, because it did before. And my subconscious has proof that before, when I felt things, it pulled me out of balance. But you've grown from the Knight to the King in terms of wisdom. So you can feel the things that you felt before, and the intensity won't feel as high because you spent so much time growing and learning. When the volume of you was turned all the way down by others, when you're at volume 5 and you're putting out 5 in terms of energy, you're full. You're at full capacity. So yeah, that's going to feel intense when you're 5 out of 5 in like input output, right? But now you can turn the dial on self up. So now you're at an 80, 85, 90, 100. So you can feel that same 5 level of emotion that you did back then, but the container's bigger. You've grown. Just like child to adult, think of that like child, you had a little sippy cup and you could fill that with emotions. And when that was full, catastrophic. When it was empty, very sad. Now you're an adult. You have a much bigger container. You know, it's going to ebb and flow a little bit differently than it did when you were a child, because this much from a big cup isn't as catastrophic as this much compared to a cup that's only this big. So you can feel that level 5 of emotion. Your brain's not wrong in saying, oh no, that was a 5. We don't want to do that again. But a 5, when you can only feel up to a 5, is much different than experiencing a 5 when you have the container to hold 100. So it's getting your brain to realize that that's what's happening. Influence field. The viral seed. So the most spread seed, that love will just fall apart. That it's almost like this energy, the viral seed is, if I pour all this time caring for myself and balancing everything out and I do everything right, something external is going to come along and throw off the entire point of doing this. It's going to bring me back 10 steps like it has every other time. And it's going to be a what was the point in that situation? I should have just stayed stuck other than spending all the energy to unstuck myself. So this is that, right? That's what your subconscious is trying to tell you, to keep you stuck, because it knows this wound. The subconscious isn't like, hey, where's the happiness? Where's the joy? Subconscious is like, hey, safety or danger? Which one? And oftentimes safety will be just what's more familiar, even if it's not what's better. This wound is familiar to the subconscious. That's why it keeps running back to things that keep this buried, so it stays a part of you and doesn't get transmuted. Number 1, the gain motive. I'm going to take this in the direction of, what are you to gain from facing this wound now and transmuting it? From the battle, out of the battle. In the battle, out the battle. Looking over at the battle, facing the other direction, and sailing towards the shore. Very stressed, very calm. Bad day, good day. A reason to keep going. So what is there to gain? Leaving the mental battle. That, again, I said the king, greatest enemy, greatest ally. Your choice. Your choice. How do you choose it? By controlling this inner critic and not making your inner critic cause your soul to stay in a holding pattern because it fears change too much, to realize that what it's viewing as familiar is actually not a good thing. It's self-sabotage in order to avoid going deeper and facing this wound. So when you face the wound consciously, your subconscious can't be scared of it anymore, because it consciously knows that it faced it already. The subconscious is saying this wound is too scary, because the subconscious doesn't have the proof of you going to the wound and being like, oh, I can handle this. It was a 5 out of 5 then, but now it's a 5 out of 100. Because I've grown. My container, my capacity is larger. So what do you have to gain going from a mental battle into, cue the truck, good times? Okay, location grid. What's the leak path? The leak path, the tower on its side. Let's do one card on each side. So the leak path is that you have strength taming the lion here. So when you tame the emotions connected to this wound, you avoid a negative tower, but you transmute. How do I word this? You're given this bouquet of 10 pieces of energy, let's just say, hypothetically. You tame the emotions associated with this wound. You're given a basket of 10 flowers of energy, hypothetically. Because now you know what to do with it. Now you can build with it. Now you know you're worthy of building with it. Now you're not waiting for external permission to build what was given to you through the transmutation process of what you endured through carrying this wound, until you consciously realized it and were able to unpack it. So the tower is like rapid change, yeah, for sure, positive rapid change. But it's also at the same time on its side. So you're not only getting positive change, but you're avoiding negative stagnancy. Q truck. Q as in like Q, not cute. Anyway, so that is the leak path. What's being leaked now is you're being given those energetic roses one by one, because your higher self knows, I'm going to give you this, and you're going to plant it, water it, nurture it, and see it through from the seed to the king, from the ace to the king. Reconstruct mode. The outcome shift. So now that we just had this little talk about this wound, now you had this realization, now you're like, oh, okay, just need to give my subconscious different experiences so it stops sabotaging me by thinking that this pain is, the familiar pain is better than unfamiliar joy. So now that I don't want to have my soul on standby and I need to address my inner critic, what is my own brain telling me about my ability to move forward and my ability to maintain that flow, bad day, good day? So now that we have this realization, what outcome can be shifted here? What outcome can be shifted here? Eight of Cups in reverse. So not walking away unfulfilled, but walking back to yourself in a sense of fulfillment. Because you're no longer waiting for permission to fill your own cups. You're no longer waiting for permission to show that your cups have been filled by your efforts. And you're no longer waiting for anyone else to fill them as well. So, very good job. So again, that's the investigation mat. This is the way to investigate a wound, as opposed to, obviously you can do true crime, you can do world news, but it doesn't have to be that. You can also investigate, why do I keep engaging in this specific pattern? Or why do I keep experiencing the same person in different settings? You can investigate anything. It's not just true crime. So I just wanted to show you that with the mat. And thank you for watching.